Hey guys, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning, here tonight to chat about this new Portrayal of Guilt album, We Are Always Alone. Portrayal of Guilt are an Austin-based post-hardcore band. They have been known to blend a whole lot of genres, and seriously, y'all have been keeping these guys in the dark from me. These guys, where did they even come from? Diving into some of their back catalog for this, they have released a whole lot of interesting material. Their early EPs that showed them working alongside of modern favorites of mine, like The Soft Kill, as well as Street Sex. But their debut, Let Pain Be Your Guide, is a really interesting debut. It showed them taking the sounds of Screamo, but bringing in elements of post-hardcore and, most importantly, black metal as well. And listening to this, I was sort of intrigued by it. I wasn't blown away by it. The foundation was certainly here, but I thought the production needed some work, the songwriting needed some work. But here we are with a nice, new, short and sweet 9-track, 26-minute album, We Are Not Alone. And let me tell you, I'm certainly not sleeping on these guys anymore. This album starts off with The Second Coming, and woof, this wakes you up real fast. Right off the bat, I really love the intensity of this, as well as the updated production. It's just so vicious and completely unforgiving. But most importantly, it shows them doing what Portrayal of Guilt does best, and that's really blurring the lines between Screamo and black metal. The result is completely helpless and really dark and very, very depressive. But it's got an atmosphere too, and it's really invigorating. Attempting Pain, on the other hand, is one of my favorite tracks here. This is an all-out attack from each and every one of the short blasts of snare hits, roaring, throttling riff, and the explosive vocals. This is great! In a lot of ways, this almost reminds me of like what Death Heaven was doing in the early days. But while short and sweet, it's incredibly memorable, and this atmosphere is top-notch. It's Already Over, on the other hand, is much more brooding of a track. It also has a lot of subtle nods to post-hardcore. And honestly, I think this is the ticket. Sure, the more explosive tracks hit a lot harder right off the bat, but this to me is the complete package. It just seems so well thought out, super pensive. Now, I will say this, some of the backing vocals aren't exactly my cup of tea. But pound for pound, this is a really fantastic sound. And some of the more quiet moments here, man, they really get under your skin. And Masochistic Oath is gloriously dark and deeply depressive. Once again, this is the sound they should be on. It almost has that super frantic, anxious Dillinger Escape Plan energy. Or maybe Converge, possibly, but with a couple more black metal vocals in. And I know I overused the phrase no hope in sight, but man, this is certainly it. Not only that, but I love the hardcore influences we get on here. This is really a coming together of a lot of interesting sounds. I mean, if you're into all of these heavier genres, this is a feast. Now, I don't think Portrayal of Guilt have made it just yet. There are some really awkward moments on here where they kind of dip into the cliches of these genres a little too much. Anesthetize I kind of really want to love, but I just can't do it. Now, the production on this album overall is pretty good, but that chugging riff that we get here, what year is it? But because of that, I feel like Portrayal of Guilt just sound a whole lot less confident on this track. I don't know, that's just me. And it's a shame because the tension and the atmosphere are fine. They Want Us All to Suffer is, I don't know, it's okay, but it's just really middle of the road. There's nothing genuinely wrong here, but compared to the rest of this album, it's just so unbearably average. And it's a shame because some of these vocals are pretty vicious. Portrayal of Guilt are so close to like really knocking it out of the park and delivering a modern classic in these genres, but they need to push their sound a lot further. And my emulation is just really frustrating. The suffocating, grisly production is so freaking great. But the mixing here, alongside of the vocals, as well as the instrumental, I see nothing coming together here. There are some good ideas on this track, but nothing seems to ever come together for one coherent thought. I mean, yeah, that could be exciting to some, but for me, it's just not very thought out. And the more toned down, quiet moments on this track that sound really good on paper just don't pan out very well. I think this band's heart is in the right place, and they have a really great bass sound, but I still think they need to just push forward. Outside of that, though, if you're into some heavier, morbid shit, man, this is going to be a feast. Garden of Despair is also really great. This is one of the grittiest, slimiest, sludgiest tracks here. It's gruesome, and it has this off-kilter pacing that is just, ugh. But it's also easily the most exciting track here. It builds so quickly. And call me crazy, this one's almost even a little melodic at points. The production's solid, the pensive moments will have you on the edge of your seat, and these vocals tear through everything in sight. And I think they saved the best for last with the title track. Call me nuts, but I think this is one of the most exciting, wild tracks here. I love how bulky and cinematic this is. This is very vast sounding in their own weird way. Breakdowns here are fantastic. I don't think I've ever heard Portrayal of Guilt sounding so massive. Even the more pensive, quiet moments here are like dripping in dread. This reminds me of what this band has to offer and why they excite me. So you know what? In the realms of all things heavy and morbid, Portrayal of Guilt continue to be very progressive and super exciting. Their blends of black metal, screamo, and post-hardcore and more continue to be really refreshing. I just worry that occasionally they kind of drift off into some of the cliches that come with these genres, but if they can get past that and push their sound to the more vast and cinematic elements of this album, I think they could really score a knockout in the future. But still, this is certainly a very viable screamo and black metal album. I'm feeling a decent 7 on this thing, but let me know what you guys think down below. If you like the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, guys.